There is such a delicate interplay between running, our diets, and our bodies, and so many mistakes that we can make when it comes to this interplay. And we're not perfect, but we're learning, and we want to share what we've learned with you. But trigger warning here, because we do talk about weight and our bodies, hopefully delicately though. So this is a bit of a different video for us, because what we want to do is kind of talk to you about our experiences, our background, and try and talk you through our running journey and how we fueled for it in terms of our performance, but also how we kind of craft our weekly diets, and also the diet mistakes that we see people make quite regularly, in the hope that you don't make them. But before we delve into that, it's worth touching upon this fine and delicate balance or ratio that we see between running and diet and your body and your body image, right? Because if you're running, naturally you're probably going to need to take in more calories. Your diet's going to need to increase slightly in order to make sure that you repair, you recover, that you know, all of the good things that happen.
Yeah, and that you're well fueled for your sessions and your running.
And that will have a knock-on impact in terms of at least body image rather than your body necessarily, because what have you found out from this training cycle that we've just been through for Chicago?
So this training cycle was a really good turning point for me in terms of my fueling for running. I decided that I wanted to see how I would be impacted by increasing my carb intake for sessions, long runs in particular, and obviously in the race as well. So I've been taking on way more carbs than I have done in the past, and it's had an amazing impact on me. I have always eaten carbs, like, since I've been a runner in the last kind of 4 to 5 years, but this was like a significant increase, and it had such a positive impact. I have made amazing progress in my training and ultimately in the race as well, a 10-minute PB, and I think a large part of that is down to the fueling. And I didn't gain weight. I took on loads more carbohydrates, and
yeah, you're actually leaner, right? And that comes because of the quality that we were trying to put in rather than the quantity quality, if you like.
The quality of food going in meant I was getting better quality in my running and then feeling quality in myself.
Yeah, because one thing before we move on to how we fueled for our training is one thing that we need to touch on is that there's this misconception, I think, out there that is you eat less, you lose a bit of weight, you become a faster runner. And that's just absolutely not the case. In some circumstances, if you have an excess of weight and it's shifting maybe a little bit of fat, then yeah, okay, fair enough. You probably would get a little bit faster, but at what cost? Because the further you go down this rabbit hole, the more weight you lose, then you're opening yourself up potentially to things like osteoporosis. If you're a female, you might lose your menstrual cycle. You might just open yourself up to more injuries and overuse issues because the fuel is not going back in to repair from the training, right?
Yeah.
And it's a misconception, because you might be lighter, but that doesn't mean faster. You have to look at your body like an instrument rather than an ornament. We say it all the time. We stole it from Ross Edgley, but you know what? It has to be something that does something for you. You know, when you were a lot lighter, Mary, do you think you'd have been able to run a marathon in 3:13?
I couldn't even run 5k. So yeah, I was well underfueled in the past.
Yes.
Deeply fatigued and really not in good condition.
Yeah.
You know, at risk of osteoporosis and things like that. So now I'm well fueled, I feel strong, and I can run strong and achieve good things.
Yeah.
That's sort of going from one extreme to another.
So with all of that in mind and knowing what we know at the moment, let's talk about how we fueled for our marathon training, for our training specifically. So when it comes to how we fuel for our success when it comes to training, it's pretty simple, actually. We just make sure we eat a carb-centered diet, but everything that we eat in the morning, we have oats and we have fruit. In lunchtime, we tend to have a rice-based dish, and then in the evening, it'll either be potatoes, it'll be pasta, or it'll be carbohydrates of some sort, generally with either a meat or vegetarian. We flip between the two during the week. But the theory behind it being that we're, as we said, we're trying to fuel our training, we're trying to get the most out of it, so we've got to make sure, because carbohydrates are our main fuel source when we're training, especially when we're training hard, that's what we do. So meals like, tomorrow we're having mixed bean chili on a Monday night, which is vegetarian. We'll have black bean and halloumi tacos at some point in this week, probably. We might even have bangers and mash, which I know sausages are a bit more processed, but like I said, I love them. And then we will often have chicken curry, massaman curry, or green curry with rice. And so we mix it up in the evenings, but always with that like carbohydrate at the center of it, really. And then when it comes to actually fueling the sessions, again, it's not rocket science. We have carbohydrate drinks mixed before hard sessions. We will have gels sometimes during certainly in a long run, but even in our hard 15 kilometer lactate threshold sessions, we might go to a gel. We just make sure everything's topped up, because I always think that the quality goes down when you're not topped up. But it's not rocket science. We just keep it as simple as possible, and how we actually implement that into our week, that is, I'm going to take you to we're going to go shopping now, and I'm going to show you. We're going to try and take you on our weekly big shop, to go through kind of how we structure our week, really, in terms of eating. And it's also going to try and conquer my fear of talking in front of people. I think the first thing that we've done, that we've always done actually, that's worked in our benefit when it's come to our training, is that we try and pre-plan the whole week. So we try and know what meals are coming from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday on a Sunday. So traditionally when you kind of go and do like the big shop, as we call it in the UK. But the reason it's helped is when you are up against it, when you're rushed for time, or when you haven't made a decision. Mary has just dropped yogurt all over the floor. Mary, let's put it somewhere obvious that they'll know it's open. All of them that you can get. As I was saying, can I finish my point now? Oh yeah, okay. When you're rushed for time, or when you're hungry when you're in a supermarket, I think is when you make the worst decisions.
Yeah.
When you plan ahead and you know what you're eating Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then you can kind of go, well, what are we having?
Yeah.
We already know what we're having for the entirety of this week, and I think that's the first thing that we've done. I think it's probably cheaper as well. Would you say it's cheaper?
Yeah, I think so. You're planning ahead and you're just buying exactly what you know you're going to eat.
Yeah. The other thing that we do, or we try to do as much as possible, is we try to eat unprocessed foods. So we try and cook everything from scratch, all the key ingredients. You've seen us buying potatoes, because that's what we're having tonight.
Yeah,
but
just fresh, unprocessed, healthy, good ingredients that will make us feel good.
Yeah, it's not something that we just slam in the oven, because I just think that is so many pitfalls with that approach, and it does take a little bit longer to cook, but it is so much more worth it. This is not, by the way, what we're cooking. This is a little present that we bought for one of our friends' children. And while I'm being ever the gentleman, letting Mary pack the bags, the other thing that we've done over the last few years, we don't do as much now, is like we bought a load of cookbooks, like Jamie Oliver, Joe Wicks, like loads of different books that...
We've never had Joe Wicks.
Oh. We've never had a Joe Wicks cookbook. There is a Joe Wicks, Lean In 15.
Oh, maybe.
I think we did have it. Telling me we didn't have a Joe Wicks, but we had a load of recipe books, and what that allowed us to do was like experiment, try things, cook things when we had a little bit more time, and over time we built up a bank of probably 20 to 30 meals that we could just go to really quickly. We knew all of the ingredients, we knew how to cook it, we didn't have to think, and I think that comes into that whole planning process again, in that the more you plan ahead and the more you know what you're cooking, the easier the decisions are in order to keep it healthy. And if you combine those three things that we did, I think that has really helped us on our way to keeping our diet as clean as possible. Do we cheat on a Friday? Yeah, we do, but we allow ourselves that cheat, right? I mean, that's the whole point of eating healthy as much as possible, is every now and then you're allowed a treat. Ooh, that's a successful shop. And now that you've seen how we craft a weekly diet, or how we put together our diet every week, and also how fuel for our training, it's probably time to touch on the mistakes we've made. which are numerous, and also these are not all mistakes we've made, but we've seen people make as well, in the hope that you don't make them. Essentially, can you see that in the background? That's probably a foreshadowing. Look above your head.
Yeah. I have not been in one of those for 18 years.
That's a long
True
time.
story.
True story. Oh, I haven't been in, like, how long have I been? 15 years? Probably 15 years I've not been in those golden arches.
Hi, look where we are.
Yeah, it's time to appreciate where we are before we start this segment of mistakes that we have made. We're in a car, which can only mean one thing. Which is an oldie but a goodie if you've not been following the channel for long.
I thought we'd bring it back.
It's like 4 years old. Anyway, let's talk about the diet mistakes that we see people make. Let's start with one of the easiest because we've already touched on it.
Go on then.
Okay, what is it? Oh, not eating breakfast. Not eating breakfast is a road to disaster. Once in a while you can get away with fasted runs, but if you have a hard session in the morning or if you have a long run in the morning, you've got to have something to start the engine. And likewise, even if you're not training, I think it gets the metabolism, breakfast actually gets the metabolism going.
Yeah.
Otherwise the metabolism doesn't kick in until later.
Yeah.
So I think not eating breakfast for us is a big no-no. It's not a mistake we've made because we've always done it, but it is something that I see lots of people do. And that's just not putting enough fuel in the tank.
Yeah, I love breakfast, couldn't live without it.
But that would lead us to the second point.
Well, I'm going to do the second point.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Second point is not taking carbs before a big session or a big training run. This is a mistake I used to make, and I'd wonder, why am I running out of energy, like on my big track sessions or on my long runs? It's because I hadn't fueled properly. So now I take a carb drink. Like, I often don't want to eat in the middle of the afternoon if I'm doing a session at like 5 or 6 p.m. That's fine. The carb drinks are amazing, and these have been absolutely game-changing for me, and the track sessions I've been doing leading up to Chicago have been so good, and I've felt energized throughout. Like, they're hard work, but I haven't felt unable to do them because I'm energized, I'm fueled, I've got the carbs in the tank.
Yeah, there is a lot of evidence out now that has proven that fueling before big sessions to enable the quality to stay high is a way that the pros do it.
Yeah.
I just hiccuped while I said hi. Hi!
And it's like, yeah, you keep the quality in the reps, you keep the quality in your run, so your form is good, your technique's good, you're practicing everything as you should. So that is one mistake that I am not going to be making again.
Which leads us on to something that we've touched on a lot, so we don't need to talk about it too much, but eating enough before races. The carb load was a big game changer for us before Chicago Marathon. So people are often afraid before a race because eating carbohydrates can be associated with feeling bloated or feeling heavy or even putting on weight, and it just wasn't the case.
No, because you don't have to eat unhealthy carbohydrates. Like, you can eat really clean, really good sources of carbohydrates to get everything in that you need, like including carb drinks and like drinks generally, but also like good quality food like rice, bagels,
Potato,
breads
and soups.
all the stuff,
Yeah.
without making yourself feel heavy, sluggish, etc.
And did it work?
Oh, it worked.
I felt like I could actually hear colours and see the future while I was running. It was like my eyes were like, whoa, I've definitely loaded enough. Like, I felt amazing the whole race, as did you, right?
Same. Good energy.
Yeah.
Good vibes.
Which leads us on to dieting. So, in my opinion, dieting, fad diets, they don't work. They don't work for long-term success. So, you might low carb, high fat, or Atkins diet, or paleo diet, or whatever they call them, but these are diets that might shift a lot of weight in the early days, but at what cost? And are they sustainable?
Yeah, I think our mindset from running is we want to run for a lifetime, and I guess the same approach to diet is you always have a diet, that is what you eat. So it's much better to find something that works for you for the long term and will give you the big long-term benefits for your running and for your life and longevity and health and goodness.
Yeah, this one is probably something more for me than it is Mary, but I have had a terrible past with eating junk food. It's something that has been ingrained in me. My daily meal at school, I didn't have a packed lunch, I was given money, so obviously as a young boy would pick the worst types of food, and that kind of continued over into my adult life. And it has been a really hard unpicking process to kind of move away from junk food and understand that as delicious as it is, other foods can be delicious that are way more healthy for you.
Yeah, and will help you to feel good.
It is really tricky because I do love junk food in theory, the taste of it, but I know it's not good for me, and that's more important to me. So we allow ourselves it once a week. On a Friday night we might have a takeaway, might have a burger, might have a pizza, but it is what?
Are you looking at me for reassurance?
Is that okay? But it is once in a while, and now that we know that we eat unprocessed, we eat clean, we eat healthy, I'm feeling so much better for it.
Yeah, and it's nice when you do have it and it's not all the time, because you can really, really enjoy it. But then you really value feeling good for...
And do you know what? I'm able to maintain my weight a lot better without eating junk food in my life.
Yeah.
Another mistake is that people don't experiment and find out what works. If we hadn't experimented with this carb load, we might not have ever got that marathon result. If we hadn't experimented with different gels, we might not have been able to train or race as well. Yeah,
and even down to food. Like, I've experimented more with pasta this time, which has worked way better than I thought. And I'd mentally shut out pasta from my food selection, but now it is firmly back in. So it's really good to be open-minded and try new things and see how your body reacts, because I think it's also important to note that your body will change over time, and your likes and responses can change as well.
You never know. That's what I would say, is try different things, see how they work for you. If you don't like them, if they don't work, fine, but you've got to experiment.
Yeah.
And leading into that, it's cook from scratch. Try not to put things in an oven that you've bought in a supermarket that are already pre-cooked. Just cooking from scratch, it does take a little bit longer, but the benefits far outweigh the cost.
Yeah, and there are good recipes and good ways to get whole foods and natural foods into a meal fairly quickly and easily to help you feel good.
So unprocessed over processed, that's an easy message, but that is one that we find a lot of people, including ourselves in the past, have made.
Yeah.
And finally, if you're gonna snack, make sure the snacks are the right snacks. So in our house, you will see in a minute, we'll show you, there is no poor quality, low quality snacks. There are snacks, but they are in the form of maybe protein bars, apples. There are things that we can eat, bananas, that will do us good but are not unhealthy. And so when we're tired, inevitably from training, we can go to the snacks, but we can make sure they're the right things going back in the body.
Yeah, and I think actually we don't have many snacks, but we have pretty decent sized portions. So once you've experimented and worked out what fuels your body, you can get your portions at the right level to maintain where you are without the need to snack lots.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people say to me, oh yeah, but I have a weakness for snacks, I have a weakness for crisps. Just don't buy them. Don't have them in the house, and then the weakness doesn't take hold. I cannot avoid chocolate if it's in the house, so we don't have it in the house. It's as simple as that. I know what my weakness is, and so I craft my environment to stay clear of it because I don't want to eat it.
Yeah, and check you're eating enough in your meals and obviously breakfast and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to eat it, but I'm not going to eat it. Right, the car is heating up, we need to get out of it.
Let's do this.
Whew, that's a lot of information. I mean, we tried something new in this video. We just wanted to give you all of our thoughts, all of our information. So if you've liked this style of video, then let us know in the comments, because it's interesting to hear. It is going to vary from the format that we usually use. But I think the main message, the takeaway from this is there is no... Oh, you just kicked the stand.
SARS.
There's no right or wrong. It's just right or wrong for you.
Yeah, everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. So as long as you are fueling yourself well and feeling good, and it's enabling you to run well, then that's all you want.
Yeah, that's the main thing that we will fall back on. If you're fueling well and you know you're making the right fueling choices, if you're running without injury and you're running happily and you are happy, that's it. You're a runner. There's no right or wrong body size.
Yeah, and we'll always go for the science and looking for what's going to help us be the best runners for our lifetime. So
yeah,
if you're keen for that as well, then keep following along.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what this is, people have, I'm sure this has been in the whole video and I've not mentioned it yet. I had to break up a fight between my dog and another dog that ran towards him that wasn't on a lead, and unfortunately in the melee my dog bit me instead of anything else.
Not fight or bite, more like a accidentally pierced through your
skin.
wrist.
Yeah. But he was being charged by another dog, so I don't blame him. But just in case you're wondering,
Had a little hospital trip.
ended up in hospital. Anyway, that's by the by. I just thought I would explain this.
Luckily, Ben got bitten by a different dog earlier in the year, so
I've already had my rabies jabs. Yeah, if you've enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, then we can help you some more. And if you've liked this video and this style, then you might even like this one. I don't know which one I'm going to recommend yet. This one. I don't even know which video I'm going to recommend yet, but it's going to be there, and it might be something that you'll enjoy as well. And thanks for watching the channel. We really appreciate it. We're very close to 100k now, so get us over the line, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.